Okay, hi again. Now, we are in video part 3, okay, still in carbon compounds. Now, I'm going to look at a subtopic in this chapter which is called alcohols. Okay, so before I do alcohols, now so far, when we looked at carbon compounds, okay, when we look at carbon compounds, we have studied about hydrocarbons. Okay, and one hydrocarbon in particular which we looked at is petroleum. Okay, now if you recall, I gave you three examples of hydrocarbon: petroleum, natural gas, and coal. So we look at petroleum in detail because we studied petroleum distillation in our part 2 video. All right, second video. Now another type of carbon compound which we are going to look at is alcohol. Okay, followed by, we will also take a look after this at esters. Okay, ester. So our focus for this video is on alcohol, which is also a carbon compound but is not a hydrocarbon. Okay, now as you know, hydrocarbon, it contains only hydrogen and carbon, but alcohol on the other hand, okay, let me move to our worksheet. Okay, alcohol on the other hand, it contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, so alcohol contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, so this is a carbon compound, just that it is not a hydrocarbon. Okay, because it not only has carbon and hydrogen, it also has oxygen. All right, so alcohol, a type of carbon compound. We're going to look at the structure. Okay, structure of alcohol. In an alcohol molecule, okay, we have carbon. Okay, we have carbon, and also we have oxygen and hydrogen, OH. Okay, now this is a key characteristic of an alcohol molecule. All right, it has a OH. Okay, it has a OH at the molecule. Each molecule of alcohol will contain a OH. Okay, so please remember, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is the three elements which makes up alcohol. All right, now for alcohol we have a few types. Okay, methanol, ethanol, propanol, and butanol. Okay, if you notice, each one of this, okay, each one of this has OL behind. Okay, methanol, ethanol, propanol, and butanol. So each one has a OL behind. Now this OL behind here is represented by the OH part of the molecule. Okay, so this OH part is the one which gives the sound of the molecule NOL. Okay, NOL. So that is why we have methanol, ethanol, propanol, and butanol. Now there are more, pentanol and so on, but for our syllabus it is sufficient if you can remember these first four. You have to memorize the name and the order. That means methanol, what it means is it has one carbon atom. Okay, one carbon atom. Ethanol has two carbon atoms. Propanol has three carbon atoms. Butanol has four carbon atoms. So it has to be in this order. Okay, met, et, prop, and put. Okay, you can remember as met, et, prop, and put. Okay, this is the order. Now what do I mean by one carbon atom, two carbon atom? Now if you look at the formula, okay, if you look at the formula here, okay, let me just rewrite that. For methanol, okay, for methanol, right, we are going to use a general formula for all alcohols. Okay, you can see here this is the general formula: CnH2n plus 1 OH. This is a general formula. Okay, applies for all the types of alcohol. Now this N, okay, this N here is representing the number of carbon atoms. Number of carbon atoms. Okay, number of carbon atoms. So as I said, methanol just now contains one carbon atom. So it will be CnH2n plus 1 OH, whereby N value, because one carbon atom, okay, methanol contains one carbon, so it'll be C1, okay, C1H. The N again is replaced with 1 because one carbon atom, and is 1 here. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so we get a 3 here and OH. Alright, so this is actually the formula or chemical formula for methanol. Alright, of course we don't have to write the 1, it's fine, because 1 if you write is fine, don't write is fine. So just erase that off. Okay, the 1 can be ignored. CH3OH. Okay, so that's what you see in your paper or your worksheet. Methanol is CH3OH. All right. Now, if you look at ethanol, okay, ethanol now. Okay, ethanol. Now, for ethanol, the number of carbon atoms is 2. So N is 2. Okay, I already said here it goes 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon. So ethanol has 2 carbon. Okay, 2 carbon atoms. Therefore, according to the chemical formula, okay, it will be written as C2 this time. Okay, the N here is now 2. H. Now, if this N is replaced with 2, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So C2H5OH. This is the chemical formula for ethanol. Now you can try yourself for propanol and butanol, see whether you can get these chemical formulas or not. Alright, which is C3H7OH and C4H9OH. Alright, so use the formula, just use this formula. Alright, so the formula is already in your worksheet. Okay, just remember in the formula the N value. Okay, the N value here, okay, the N is always going to be the number of carbon atoms. How many carbon atoms? And methanol has 1 carbon atom, ethanol has 2 carbon atom, propanol has 3, butanol has 4 carbon atoms. So these are the 4 names of alcohol which you got to remember in order. Okay, met, et, prop and but. All right, now for each one of these alcohol, let's see methanol. Okay, let me zoom this in. Okay, for methanol, it has a boiling point which is lower than the others. So boiling point of methanol is about 65 degrees Celsius. Ethanol is 78 degrees Celsius. We use methanol, ethanol a lot in labs. So if you let's say pour methanol on the table, it will eventually evaporate by itself. Okay, because the boiling point are quite low, 65, 78. And propanol a little bit higher, and butanol is much more higher at 118. So you can see as the number of carbon atoms increases, the boiling point also increases. It is more difficult to boil when the alcohol molecule contains more carbon atoms. Okay, now the state of matter, all these alcohols are liquid at room temperature. Okay, they are generally, alcohol is always liquid at room temperature. So room temperature, you can take it like around 27 degrees Celsius, okay, or 30 degrees Celsius, that's room temperature. So alcohols are all in liquid form. All right, now if we heat up alcohol slightly, it will start to evaporate, it will start to boil. All right, okay, next part, preparing ethanol in laboratory. Okay, how do we prepare, how do we manufacture ethanol in the lab? Okay, it is a simple method. Now the process of preparing ethanol is we need two things. One is glucose and the second thing is yeast. Okay, so the combination of these two, okay, combination of these two, glucose plus yeast, will give us, okay, will give us ethanol, and we will get a byproduct, waste product, which is carbon dioxide. All right. Okay, so that's a conical flask filled in with glucose solution added with some yeast. Okay, the same yeast that you use for baking bread. Okay, the yeast, and this yeast will actually produce an enzyme. Okay, the yeast will produce an enzyme. We call it as an enzyme, which is called zymase enzyme. Zymase. Okay, an enzyme called zymase produced by the yeast. Now this zymase enzyme is basically a chemical produced by the microorganism, which is yeast. So this enzyme helps the process of converting glucose into ethanol. Okay, so you need yeast to do this conversion, all right, from glucose to ethanol. Okay, now when this happens, because carbon dioxide is produced as a waste product or byproduct, okay, we actually have lime water, as usual, lime water, to test the presence of carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide is present, the lime water will turn cloudy. Okay, and if you see the lime water turning cloudy, that means carbon dioxide is being produced. Therefore, we can say the reaction is taking place, or the yeast is actually helping to convert glucose into ethanol. So if you want to know whether the process is successful, the conversion of glucose into ethanol, we have to monitor whether carbon dioxide is being produced or not. If carbon dioxide is produced and the lime water turns cloudy, therefore the process which is happening, okay, is successful. Now this process is called fermentation. Okay, this process which we talked about is called fermentation. Okay, so let's fill in the blanks. Okay. Okay, the first question in your worksheet, name the process that occurs inside the conical flask. Okay, I've already given you the answer for that. Okay, the process is called fermentation, right? So, fermentation. Complete the word equation below to show the reaction in the conical flask. So, the word equation would be glucose, and then you have zymase enzyme here. Now, zymase enzyme is produced by yeast. Okay, the microorganism yeast. And what is actually our product? We are going to get ethanol. Okay, ethanol and carbon dioxide. So please fill in the blanks for that word equation. So you got to memorize this word equation. Okay, the next question. Okay, on your next page. What gas causes the lime water to turn cloudy? That's easy. The presence of carbon dioxide. Okay, so this one, the lime water turns cloudy just now in the apparatus in fermentation. The gas produced is carbon dioxide. Instead of lime water, what can be used to test the presence of the gas? Okay, what gas we are talking about is carbon dioxide. instead of lime water, what can we use? We can actually use anything that can